Okay, let's call to order this special meeting of June 30th at 3, call to order at 3:09. We have a really reduced agenda. I don't have it in front of me, but I believe that the first thing on our agenda is to approve the minutes from June 7th.
We approve the minutes from the special meeting of June 7th, 2020.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Amy says aye. Okay. Opposed? Motion carries. Oh, I think Janet is connected now. She raised her hand, I believe. Unless that's Pro Max.
No.
I mean, unless Pro Max is
It's
a
me.
member.
Sorry. I'm walking out of work.
Okay.
You could start. Go for it.
Okay. Okay. And the link is public, so if they wanted to, but there's no members of public. Okay, so we're meeting today to look at the budget and to discuss the money that's left after all of our obligations have been met. So Mary Beth, can you tell us where we're at?
So what you're looking at is, God bless you, we've covered the overages that we had from like building operations. We've, balanced everything out. We have still a positive balance of $28,504.42. We have, out of this year's money, covered all of the cameras, which came out to be more than the 13,000 because some of the wiring has to be replaced as well. But the cameras are set. We got some additional curriculum materials. We have everything that we believe we need. We're in great shape. There's still 28,005 left. The only consideration that we would put on the table for you is that Ed Advance had said that we need to replace some of the wireless access points in order to get the parking lot and the playground. We have a quote of that work with a 1-year warranty is $1,256. If we've got a 3-year warranty on those access points, it would be $2,245. The other thing that we have to do at some point is the endpoint security for $3,300, but we have money in next year's budget to do both of those things. They will get done, but those would be the only outstanding things that we could do with this money, which would reduce it to something like maybe 25,000 to return to the town as opposed to 28,500. So that is your.
So it doubles, adding 2 years of warranty doubles the cost of those.
3 years?
It's 3 years, it's 3 times 1.
What were the 2 months?
For 1 year warranty, it's $1,200. For 3 years, it's $2,200. So it's $1,000 more for 2 additional years. So you don't save a tremendous amount of money, but it's a little bit.
What is the warranty cover? Is it like replace them if they're out of date? Because that's a lot.
It is a
I
lot.
honestly don't know. I mean, if you want to look at the quote, it's called FortiGate 61 and a security appliance. It would replace the Cisco Meraki ones that we have that they always have trouble with downstairs, like in the 6th grade hallway and everywhere. So.
Right. I think the question is, the warranty.
I mean, you could just
you
could just buy a brand new one for that money.
Yeah, yeah.
So the warranty makes no sense.
No, but that's what we have the quote.
Right.
Access code. Lightning.
Like lightning, yeah.
Not that we would ever get.
I bet it doesn't.
No. It doesn't strike twice in the same place. We already had our hit, right?
I bet it doesn't, and I bet there'd be a whole lot of hassle in getting it to be covered, and then they would fix it as opposed to just buy a new one for the exact same amount of money. So that makes no sense.
So how much are each access point?
It's $1,200
For the 2 of them.
And
Oh,
the
there's-
warranty is
It
1,000.
says quantity 1, so
Yeah, so I think, sorry, do you have the email from Ian or not?
it looks to
Oh, is
me.
it on my,
But it says it's just like.
No, I think we're.
it says- no, is it on the tape?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, I do have it. I have it right here.
Security appliance is what it says.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great. The warranty is the 3-year one.
So here, that's for,
Okay.
I might have come.
Right, usually warranties are a quarter price of whatever you're buying. So if I said it for 1,000, a warranty would be like 250 for 3 years, not
right.
another $1,000.
Oh, wow.
So this upgrade will resolve any existing Wi-Fi issues in the building, notably the congestion, connection issues around the 6th grade hall, extend the range of existing access points significantly, and allow for an arguably more secure and manageable network environment. Also, this includes the 2 outdoor wireless access points desired for outside emergency meetings in the upper parking lot and by the playground. Okay.
So I don't know if that's the full price for everything, to replace all the access points and the warranty.
Yeah, because what this
That's
says,
the only point, that's why I think that's the price for all. And whether we go to 1 year or a 3 year.
Right,
Yes.
but
It's for like 9 access points, isn't it? Didn't it say?
yeah, it says 9 points of
Yeah.
access, 2 pieces of indoor, outdoor access points. And so there's 9 pieces.
Total.
Well,
Is it 9 and 2?
and then there's 1 switch. So 9 pieces, 9 pieces, PCS and PCS pieces of access points, 2 pieces of indoor, outdoor, 1 piece switch. So that would be 12 items. I'm actually surprised that 12 items would only cost us $1,200.
I know.
That
and-
seems
No, that's
too cheap.
impossible.
So-
Each link camera is about.
But didn't it say, did he price it out in there, what each one would be?
Let's read more carefully. Let's read that one. Is that okay if I read this out loud?
Sorry.
I weighed the option of sticking with the existing Cisco Meraki ecosystem, but their cost per product plus subscription was simply too much to justify.
So maybe it's a subscription.
Unify access points can be had for $179 a piece. Cisco APs go for well over $400 to $1,200 a pop for equivalent products.
So 179 times 9.
Oh,
That's about the 1,200.
well,
I'm not sure whether 2 outside ones in addition to were included in the 9.
179 times 9 is 61.
We have well over 100 unified products deployed in all of our locations.
In advance.
At advanced locations and other customer locations as well without incident. So he's trying to say, let's move away from the Cisco Meraki ecosystem and we'll move instead to this Unify piece.
And it's, I'm assuming that's like a mesh network with the repeaters.
That's what it sounds like.
Okay.
Like if you had a Google network and you had a bunch of little hub, like this little. I just wonder, is that just the warranty?
I don't know.
I feel like
You know,
that would make
I
more
should have
sense.
asked him. We really, we can go off and talk to
You know,
them
right,
next
because we
year.
do have money in the budget to cover
Yeah.
these things. So rather than make a decision about spending money, they would have to spend it today.
Right. so
You know.
Sorry, good check.
Oh, that's right, it's 30.
Yeah, we can't go home today until the check comes in. So the decision would, but it's not something that has to be, I mean, it's not urgent. So we can get more information, see what the cost is.
Well, I mean,
before we
I'm
go
really in
forward.
favor of increasing our Wi-Fi stack. I think that all should, you guys want to do this?
Yeah, that sounds like a hub, like 48 would be.
So that's just the security piece. So that's the piece he wants to get that instead of the Cisco piece, right? The Cisco AP.
The endpoint security thing is a separate thing. That's the $3,500 one, right?
Right, and that one we have to do every year, it's $5 license.
Right. That's different from the access point.
Access point.
I mean, it could be the thing that is the center of all these other pieces, right? It's like it's the switch.
But then everything else is meshed in, like all the other access points can go through that. And so it have firewall security.
I'm just wondering what the price is of all those access points. unless we already
They
have.
said 179.
We currently have, there are currently 8 in the building, what are 9 to give us a spare? Or if necessary,
And then
additional.
2 out, the indoor outdoors. So 16 plus 30, what was that, 13? It's 3,000.
That looks like it's a different.
It is.
It didn't-
Well, so we have money for this next year.
Yeah.
We don't know the exact prices right now. We should put it in next year's budget. when we feel like that. As long as we're, I'm really glad we're moving forward on it. Because that
Yeah.
really. is
Well,
good.
it's definitely gonna get done, and it doesn't, it's not like if we don't do it this year's money, we don't have money, there's money in the budget, we've got the 10,000 in our, security, because the cameras are already set, and we have a whole new year's budget refresh on all of our building improvement, building repair lines, so we can absolutely cover it in the budget.
And then what about the non-lapsing funds?
So we have 28, if they vote for 1%, then 24 of this goes in. If they vote for 2%, all 28 goes in.
So we have, we're on their agenda for their July meeting to talk about it. And we can ask to be upped to 2% instead of 1%. They may say no, in which case, that's fine, we still.
It needs a 20, if they do 1%, 24 and change would go into it. And then the leftover $4,000 would go towards one of your bridges or something else that's in the budget for the
It's
town.
1% of the total budget, 2.4.
Right, so it's about $24,000.
Okay, gotcha.
That'll probably cost them $4,000. Okay, well, so if that's the case, then I think, I feel kind of comfortable giving that 28 back and hoping that it'll, it'll be earmarked for us in that 1% or hopefully 2% piece anyway to help us.
Well, and at the end of the day, although they did put the clause in there that we could petition the town for some of that money for something that wasn't capital improvement, they've got that line that is specifically saying that the money in the non-lapsing account should be used. And we know we're gonna need a roof, we're gonna need a parking lot, we're gonna need things, and the town is gonna pay for those things anyway. So I think it would be in your best interest to start putting some money aside to cover for that, but if they don't, it's not going to be an impact on us because those things won't become a budget anyway.
Does anyone online have anything they want to add to the discussion?
I just want to. Go ahead, Janet.
No, sorry. I was just wondering what would be the downside to keeping the 2% in the school for the school versus giving that back to the town.
So we can't keep it, we can't roll money over, Janet. At the end of today, we have to end our budget, and whatever we haven't spent goes back to the town. We can't keep money for next year or keep it in a Board of Ed account for anything. So the question is, if we don't spend it, we give it back to the town, and they have to decide, do they want to put some of that money into an account that they can roll over and have it to go towards one of the, school expenditures, an unexpected or a very large expenditure moving forward.
So as a general rule, boards of ed can't hold money. The money all belongs to the town. So things that aren't spent in our budget kind of rolls back into the town coffers. But we have this special non-lapsing account that we set up, was it just last year that we
Yes.
approved it?
Yeah.
And that special non-lapsing account is something that allows the money to be like put aside for school projects. So.
Right. Okay. Now I get it. Yeah.
So we could spend this $28,000 today on something, that if we feel like there's something here that we should pay for, or it goes back to the town, and then the Board of Finance can decide if they want to put that 1 to 2% in the non-lapsing account. Does that all make sense?
That does. And we can ask to have the 2% put into the non-lapsing account.
Yes. So as it stands, we signed an agreement with the Board of Finance last year that had an end date. It only allowed for 1 year, and it only allowed for 1%. we're on their agenda in July. I want to ask for 2% for, a continuing agreement. And I also think it might be a little bit overshooting to ask them to take off the clause about it having to be a capital expense. But
Right, no, I agree with that.
the law allows us to, the law does not prescribe that capital expense limitation.
Okay,
And as a
gotcha.
matter of
Yeah,
fact,
no,
the law
I
says it
agree
has to
with
be
that.
education. What's that?
Oh, no, I said that's sorry, my thought process, that's what I would think, like, we asked for the 2% to stay in and, hopefully they vote yes on that.
Yeah, and leave it at that. I feel like that would be enough of a game. Amy, is there something you wanted to add?
Yeah, one of the questions I had was what's the reasoning behind only using the money, or that clause that says we could only use the money for capital improvements?
That was a clause added by Mike.
Yeah, no, I'm just wondering what the Board of Finance thinking is in terms of why that's an important part of the agreement.
I can only guess, Amy, is that they know that there are some very large capital expenses looming on the horizon, and that, they didn't want the board to, pilfer away the money on other little things. If they were going to hold it over, they wanted to make sure that it would go toward a major expense that the town would incur, but that's just a guess.
Yeah, I understand nobody sitting in this board right now understands the thought behind that clause, why that was added. I'm just thinking to 2 years ago when we, it was unprecedented what had to happen 2 years ago. It was unforeseen. It was completely different from anything that we could have planned for or budgeted for. And it wasn't capital improvements that we needed money for at that point. It was, maybe it was hardware, maybe it was this, maybe it was that. I don't know. So if we do have the opportunity to ask what the thinking is behind that clause, that would be great. If you feel like that would be pushing buttons and causing animosity between boards, then I understand we don't have to do that either. But I don't understand why that clause is important.
Well, you probably have the best insight really on how best to approach the board with that question or that request. I'm happy to give it a shot. My inclination is to think I will get the response. You spend enough money, don't you think? I think that's what they're going to say.
But that's kind of why there is a Board of Finance and a separate Board of Education. That's why, by state statute, there is a board that is just looking out for the education of the children of the town, and it's not the Board of Finance, and it's not the Board of Selectmen. It's its own body whose sole purpose is to make sure that the education we're providing at our school is appropriate.
Will you come to the meeting with me?
I will be in Georgia.
Oh, that's right.
So sorry.
Okay, will you send me some notes on the couple of those sentences that you just said, and I will do my very best.
And they may have a very good understanding or a very good justification or reason for saying we really think the money should be set aside for this purpose. I just don't know what it is. It was never something that was brought up specifically, and I didn't. It's my fault, but I didn't realize at the time, a year ago when that was adopted by the Board of Finance and the Board of Ed, that the state statute said that it didn't have to specifically be for capital improvements. I didn't realize that wasn't part of the state's thinking in allowing these funds or this account.
I'm going to read that before that meeting. I think we should review that statute because as I read it, I think it says it specifically has to be for education reasons. So I think that the agreement that we signed is not legal.
Well,
I mean, I don't know.
I ran it by our attorney, and he said they could say, oh, you don't like it, we won't let any go into the non-lapsing account.
Right. Yeah.
He said it's not illegal for them to put stipulations as long as those stipulations don't violate the spirit of the law, which is education. So that still their stipulation is an educational expense, so they are not violating any law or any part of the statute. He said it's perfectly their prerogative to do that. But it's anybody's guess as to why they chose to add that.
The only thing I want to avoid is unnecessarily antagonizing the Board of Finance. You know? And I know you're sensitive to that, but like, you know, so I'm pleased that we are able to put some money in that account and that it looks, you know, to safeguard some of the needs of the school in the future. So
Absolutely.
okay, so
It's really quite amazing that in another year of COVID and unanticipated anything that, you know, we were able to live within our budget, never mind have an extra $28,000. So I hope they are appreciative of that and consider it.
yeah, hope so. I hope that people see the school as being responsible, financially responsible, but I don't know.
We've given money back every year. I was going to go back and look to see if from the date that they passed the statute to now, if everything that we gave back to the town had been put in a non-lapsing account, I'm thinking we would have had close to $100,000 towards, you know, something that, you know, when it comes up, it makes a difference. But I haven't gotten to that. How much.
That's interesting.
Mostly because at some point they changed it. It was initially adopted, the statute was written for 1%. And then I think it might have been 3 or 4 years ago, they increased it to 2%. So that's a pretty recent change.
I am sort of curious, so the big projects, the roof and the parking lot and the hospital transports, but I wonder when those were bid and what those prices are now. Because
Well, I gave, back when Sue Dyer was here, I sat down with her and I gave her the recent quotes on the roof, on the tank, what it would cost if we took it out then, what it would cost in terms of expenses up until when we had to take it out and what the projected cost would be. And when she left, I sat down with Matt and Mike again. I gave them the same quotes. They're now 4 or 5 years old. And I'm not getting, yeah, I haven't gotten, you know, additional costs, but if the slide is any indication of, you know, I went down to the Berkshire store to pick up some lunches today, and the waitress was saying, you know, got off the phone and she said, you know, people are getting so angry because we raised our prices and they're complaining that, and she said, but they have no idea the cost of food that's gone up. You know, I said, yeah, you're lucky that you're getting it and that they have some place to go and get lunch or dinner, but everything has gone up exponentially. So I'm sure the cost of these things are, but Matt has said he's on top of things. He's been out here with roofing people over the last couple of years. We've been down, he's been working with the tank people, but I don't think that project is yet either. So, you know, it is going to be a bigger expense. That's
We'll have to move into the lower floor, just let this be the roof. Does that work?
Except the heat rises and then we'll be cold
Oh,
because
well.
oil is now like over $5. We've got budgeted for $3 a gallon, and the consortium is still holding and waiting because it's now over $5 a gallon. It's, who knows where it's going to end.
you have to have to prepay through second grade on the level of that's a discharge. They can't share the floor with
The roof.
Oh.
Well, they could do that if they put them in the cafeteria. That would happen. But then,
Sure.
Okay, well, so, well, if the security, that wireless access points and outside, indoor, outdoor access point stuff is the only thing that was kind of on the radar, and we feel like that's going to be well covered by next year, I think we should vote to go ahead and return the $28,504.42 to the town.
Second that.
All those in favor? I see yes from.
Raising my hand now.
And Janet.
Sorry.
All right, that motion carries. And with that, the business of our meeting is over, so we can have a motion to adjourn. That's my motion.
I'll second it.
Ooh, Dan seconded. All right, all those in favor? All right,